Wonderful. Okay, we are ready to get our Saturday started. I love seeing so many people joining in, especially on a day like today here in Minnesota, where we know how beautiful it is outside. I'm looking out and it's blue sky, and it's going to be a beautiful weekend here. And as we were getting started, I could hear people tuning in from Canada, Finland, Denmark, a lot of different countries checking in here on their Saturday. So wherever you're watching from, or if you're watching this on the replay, welcome. So those of you who are building a Zinzino business know that it takes some work to do. It doesn't just come automatically. And sometimes you hear about the stories of people getting in the business and then they rocket to a top title. Well, what happens if they don't keep that title? What happens? Are they going to be gone, or are they going to come back, or are they going to need to do more work, or what is it that keeps them going? So I don't know where you are in your Zinzino business, if you're just getting started or if you have been in for some years. But the guest speaker today has been part of the North American team pretty much since it started, and actually before the launch. And she has been working this business very hard, hadn't done direct sales before this, and so has been a part of Zinzino in about 8 years. Let's see, 9 years now. So she is very dear to my heart because she is also my cousin. Let's bring her on here, Director Angela Lewandowski. Hello, Angela. How are you doing? You're going to need to unmute here for you to come on. Hey, Ange.
Hi.
And it is so good to have you on for today. And I think it's an important time because right now, if anybody's paying attention to the North American market, the numbers are exploding. All of this year, it's been just crazy how much the United States has and Canada and all of the North American markets are really exploding. But I want to go back and talk a little bit about where you started, because I think this is one of the most important stories to hear, because you have this dream, struggle, victory. Everybody's going to have a dream, struggle, victory as they go through their business in Zinzino. So let's start about when you got started. It was back in 2013 that you first heard about Zinzino, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I first heard about Zinzino in 2013 and got started in 2014 when we launched here in the US. And of course, Carla, you had come over and said, you know, you wanted me to hear about what you've been doing. And I was kind of a little bit like, I felt like the product side of things, it made perfect sense. The health concept made perfect sense. But I was a little like, I didn't have a lot of extra time to be doing things. At that time, I was a single mom of 4, you know, working 50 to 60 hours every week. Of course, here in Minnesota, things aren't very close together. So I was commuting as well, a couple hours each day, and coaching sports and being taxi mom, and didn't really feel like I had a whole lot of extra time. But then I remember when you said to me, what if I could show you a way to get more time? And then I was like, okay, sign me up. That was the thing for me. I wanted more time. I wanted more time to be able to spend with my family. Of course, some extra money to do things that, you know, we weren't able to do. I mean, my job was a good paying job, but it was, you know, enough that we were getting by every month, and that was about it. So for me, it was
because you were working so many hours. I mean, you weren't just working a 40-hour work week. You were working many times a lot over. Plus, you had a 1-hour drive to work, so you had 2 hours every
Right.
day in a car besides the amount of time that you were working. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of moms are doing that still. Some I hear a lot of people working one or even two jobs to make ends meet. And
Yeah.
so for you, I think you knew that I had quit my job, and because I was your cousin, it's like, okay, if my cousin can do it, then I can do it. And I think that helps out when you know somebody that's built a business.
Absolutely. That made a big difference, knowing what you had done. And then I was like, well, okay, I'm just going to follow what you've done, Carla, and just, show me the way, because I didn't know anything of direct sales. I'd never been involved in anything like that before. So this was all totally new to me.
But one thing we did know is now with my family, I had a great story because my son had had such great effects from
Mhm.
this. And when we were testing, you could see the results also in regards to your own children. You want to tell a little bit about what the test results
Absolutely.
were?
Sure. um, I always thought I was a healthy person. My family's active. We're in sports, and the girls and I ran a lot of 5Ks together. We go to the gym. Like I said, I coach. And so I was surprised when my test came back at 65-1. Not good, not anywhere near where I should be. And then, of course, being a mom, I'm like, okay, well, I have to test my kids and see where they're at. And they tested anywhere from 50-1 to 89.9-1. And I was like, oh, what am I doing? Here I think I'm doing everything right, and I'm not. But so happy that there I found out that there was something that I could do about it. So, you know, the importance of getting into balance. And the more that I learned, I'm like, okay, this is the number one thing that we need to be doing for not only our health, but also our children.
Well, I think that's kind of fun because I could see some of the responses of some of the others, and it was like, what? What? How much? Because when you look at you, you look healthy, you have that body that looks healthy. And most people would say she's a healthy person. And your daughters, they're active. A lot of them are in sports and doing some high level things. So you would think you were a healthy family. But when you
Right.
saw what Zinzino actually, what the balance concept really was about, and
Mhm.
you took the test and you said, what? Because I know at the beginning when you found out your test, you were kind of embarrassed about it. And
I was like, are we sure this is my test? Like, I kind of was upset about it because I'm like, I really didn't think that, but it just goes to show that you don't know what's going on inside. I mean, you can look great on the outside, but we really don't know what's going on in the inside.
that's a good point. And also because you started having different changes too in
Mhm.
your body, you saw
Yeah.
changes in your daughters, and
Mhm.
it was really making a difference. So it wasn't something you were just guessing about. You could see the
Right.
difference, and the tests were proving when you were getting into balance that it was making a difference.
Absolutely. I felt a lot better. I had some changes going on. I saw some changes in my kids as well, and just, what was going on with them. And so really made a difference health wise. And so then, knowing that I had had that huge number, the changes that we were seeing just made sense that
Mhm.
that was going to happen.
So you said, okay, if this is a product I can stand behind,
Mhm.
this is a company I can stand behind, and if you did it, I can do it too. And the other thing is that I said I would help you do it, because if there's somebody you want to help, it's the people that you know. And
Right.
so it got kind of emotional because you said, okay, I, and in Zinzino, when we get people started, we talk about their goals to make
Mhm.
that plan to get them to their goals. Because some people say, I just want to make an extra spending money, I want to make that extra $500 a week. And other people say, no, I need 5,000 every month because I need to pay, I don't want to work anymore. And
Right.
what you had said at the time, when you realized what you could do, you kind of said, how fast can I get out of my job? because
Yeah.
you
I
wanted
said,
to
how
be-
fast can I get to diamond? That was what I said. How fast can we get me to diamond?
and my response was, how much time have you got every week? And then you started putting in a lot of hours. You spent a lot of time doing meetings then.
I did. I put in a lot of time, and I was spending 20 to 25 hours a week. I mean, my evenings, my weekends, I was pushing really hard. And I found out that maybe sometimes I was pushing too hard because I was wearing myself out, and it's not duplicatable. People would kind of look at me and be like, oh, I don't want to do that. They don't want to be working that hard. And so, just I think the amount of activity is honestly what, got me to diamond so fast, because I was putting in so much time and, having so many meetings. I remember you'd fly over and I'd have your calendar booked. You'd give me a couple days and I'd book that calendar, and we'd be going from meeting to meeting and, having a lot of fun while we were doing it. But I feel like it wasn't sustainable. I'd wear myself out, and then, things would, like if I'd have a customer that would, decide they, didn't want to stay on the balance oil, or, partner that decided, oh, this just isn't for me, or, we'd have little issues, then it would affect me a great deal. So
I want to talk about that because how did it affect you? We would say about every few months, I think Angie quit.
I did. I think you heard that a lot from me, Carla. I know you did. I'd get mad and I'd say, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm giving up. And, I'd be so frustrated that I'd just say, nope, this isn't for me. And that was, kind of the hard part of, being able to, work through those frustrations. And I can see now that just because I was pushing so hard, that I didn't have enough time to be working on myself. And I know now that it's, all about, working on myself, making sure I'm doing enough personal development, making sure I'm, reading and listening every day. I've got to build that solid foundation, because that's what we need to duplicate.
Yeah. Well, before we go into some of the things of what worked, so you got to, I think it was that same year. So if you really signed up the beginning of 2014 and we got things going, it was a while after that you became diamond in the end of that year. And actually that same month you quit your job.
I did.
I mean, we were thrilled about that. We were thrilled that you quit your job, but we've learned a little bit about quitting your job if it's a little too early.
Definitely. The more that I've learned and the road that I've traveled with Zinzino, it's, make sure that I can say this to people, make sure that it's a, steady, like double what your pay is. Don't just match it. And I think, I was so anxious to have that extra time that once I hit diamond and I matched my income, I was like, okay, I'm done. And I probably should have, looking back, waited till things were a little more stable and I was, maybe active director before I quit, but.
Or maybe a higher T balance, customer and partners, or something. We could have maybe both of us, talk more about things to our upline and say when would be the right time, so that we make sure we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Maybe with some people, if they had the right income and they could have retired on that would be great. But it really is if you're going to get rid of a job, it's to also put time into Zinzino so you could be building more. And I love that you said that we had some little issues. And I noticed that you said little issues because for anybody who had been building at that time in the US knows that we had a few issues. I'm not going to say little issues, but we had issues at the time. And that made a difference in a lot of people getting out of the business and not wanting to. And as you said, people were just saying, okay, well, then I can't do this.
Yep.
And and it gets tough. You need to, I think leadership, everybody can be a leader if you have enough people following you, and you
Yeah.
need to be that person who can follow. And we had to make some adjustments of different things in the United States, and things started to get back. And actually, the year after you became Diamond, and things kind of went to Diamond, and you didn't stay Diamond, but at one point you made a decision and you wanted to hit director because you knew you needed to get there. So again, you focused and worked hard, go, 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 until you hit director.
Mhm. Yeah, it was that big push again for a few months of, a lot of activity, a lot of meetings. And it was tough because you were my only, immediate upline, and you're in Denmark a lot. So, we did a lot of stuff over Zoom, I remember, over, Skype, I think, even at that time.
Oh man, that tells how long ago it was before
Right.
the Zoom was out. Yeah. But we were working, and we got you to director, but then still there were little issues. We'll just say some things.
Mhm.
And here is where I think, COVID comes in. There's a lot of things that come in. You had a little bit more time, and when you got time, you got married, and you had your 5th child. So now
Yes.
mother of 5, and that's going to keep you busy. And
Mhm.
life happens, and when you have 5 kids, there's a lot going to happen and go on at the time. And a lot of things happen to where you had been building on the team, and life happens for a lot of people in the team too. There's a lot of other things that happen. So at one point you weren't really building the business anymore. You weren't connecting with the team in the same way. And your T balance went down, the credits went down, and you were so busy with other things that you could see that, but it wasn't something that you were really going to work on. I mean, you had one side that was going crazy. You have a couple of rock stars over there. They're also on here, a lot of the rock stars. And they were still building. So you ended up having all of the banking on the one side, but yet your title was more of, you were down at active executive.
I was. And like you said, Carla, yeah, life got in the way. I got married. I had a little guy here. He's just turned 2 not too long ago. And so a lot of family things going on, and then the COVID stuff. And I guess I was just more focused on what was going on at home. And then, of course, some different family things got in the way, and there's always going to be those things. So I wasn't as active. I was, of course, still working on customers and, doing that, but I wasn't so focused on building a strong team. And so I was getting a residual income from my customers, which was really nice because I got up to top team. So I was still doing that, but I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't as active. I kind of took a little bit of time off.
That was where you also started questioning yourself on, could you really start building this again? Could you do this? Now, we have to say, in the meantime, over this time, we hired Art Jonak, our current president of North American operations, and all of those little issues we were talking about started to be gone. So we didn't have all of the issues at that time. So actually, anybody who got started now, they don't have those things. We have everything working with shipping and products, and we don't have to worry about. We won't even go into all those kind of issues, but we didn't have that anymore. And yet, being an active executive is kind of like, oh, do I have to get going again? Can I do this? And you had a lot of questions at the time
Mhm.
to yourself on.
I did. I had a lot of self-doubt of, if I could really do it, because I, had built my level up and not maintained it. So that created some doubt in myself and some, but then I think I had to turn that around and say, okay, well, what is it that I need to learn?
Mhm.
What is it that I need to, do myself to, you know, make sure that I get the results that I want.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
but you could also see there were people in your team that were having
Mhm.
higher titles and building this, so you knew it could happen, and you had belief in the products, you had belief
Mhm.
in art, you knew that it could be. I think maybe it was just, okay, what did you need to learn? What did you need to do? But something kind of clicked at one time, something last year that kind of,
Mm.
hmm, what was like this determining factor that you would say?
Well, I think I knew that I still had the dream of, you know, of my, that of hitting, I of hitting the next title, of hitting crown, of having a residual income, to be able to um, spend more time with my family, to be able to travel more. I would like to have my husband be able to be at home and not have to work.
Mhm.
So I still had those dreams. And with art coming on, and I could see that things had started to get easier. He'd really simplified things, here for North America. And I just had that, you know, well, I'm not getting any younger. you know, they, I, the
And
time is
and
going
what
to pass.
and what else could you be doing? Because what
Yeah,
are
the
the
time is going to pass. So what else was I going to do? I was either going to go back and get another job and work 60 hours a week, or I could get back into building my business that I know that I can do. It was just about, learning more myself.
Mhm. So you last year you kind of had said, and I remember when we were talking about it, you're like, okay, I need to redo this. And you knew a few things from the years that you had put in. And one of the things that you really knew about was the personal development.
Mhm.
So you started making more of an effort in personal development, and you started to, as Art says, stay close to the fire. You were at all of the events, you were listening in because Art has calls every Sunday and Monday night, and you were on them all. And you were starting to take in all the all the information, and actually doing some more reading and listening again.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest things, and I know we get so much from the events. I mean, that's where we get all the training. It builds our belief level up. Our anxiety is always really high, especially, if we're just getting going again. And so I knew I needed to build my belief up, higher than, get it, at least as high as my anxiety, if not higher. So getting to the events, getting the training, the extra knowledge. I always learn so much at events. And then like you said, the reading, the listening. I was always really good of listening. I have the GoCore app on my phone. Whenever I'm driving, I just plug it in and listen. But the reading was always a little bit harder for me. So just making a list, when, Art talks about the things that we need to do every day. And one of those things, is my reading. I know that I need to do that. So I'm really working on, different things. Right now I've been reading this one, Eat That Frog. Sometimes I would push things off, and now I know that I need to prioritize things and eat that ugliest frog first every day.
Yeah, for those of you who have read that book, you know what it's about. But and actually, all of the things that all of our leaders are always pulling together is always complementing each other. I mean, we have enough training on the GoCore app. We don't need other trainers. We don't need to search
Right.
other things because we have so much on our GoCore app, and so many things that just complement each other. Like when Art's talking about staying close to
Mhm.
the fire, or and he's talking about the priority. It's in tune with when Hilda is, so many times she's talking about what she does herself, and it's the same thing as Eat That Frog. She's making that list at night, and then the next day she's taking the top number one thing. And it doesn't mean you're going to get through everything on your list, but you're always working on the thing that's getting you closest to your goals. So
Absolutely.
I love that we have so much training and so much that you can be doing, that we have it all in Zinzino, but it's important to use it. And a lot of people aren't using it, Ange, and we can see it actually in the team. And I know we've had other team members say the same thing. As soon as they start reading and listening again, all of a sudden they're not quitting as much. And I think that's because you stopped quitting. If you want to really get moving forward, quit quitting. I love that saying, quit quitting.
Yep. And I think it's the more that you build yourself up, the more that you work on the core of yourself, that when the things come along, you look at it more like, okay, well, what's the problem I need to solve here? And what tool in my toolbox can I use? Do I need to get coaching from somebody in the upline? Do we need to talk to the office about it? What tool in our toolbox can we use to solve this problem, instead of saying, I'm just done, I'm fed up.
But I think that's a key thing, because it's your mindset. So as you're doing all the personal development, you change the mindset, because you need to find the solutions to the issues. A problem is just a problem, which is before the solution. That's what problem really means. And so finding what the solution is up to you. And I remember at one point when I was like, okay, we had all the little issues, and I said, okay, he who solves the most issues is going to win. So it was almost like a game. Okay, how many problems can you solve? So if you quit at every problem, you're not going to get as far as if you say, I'm going to solve the issue. What and who do I need to go to? What do I need to learn from this? There's a lot of big things happening there. So you started solving issues and quitting. and then doing that personal development. But then you also started some action. So you did a whole bunch of customers, and you were able to get on the director trip to Portugal, which was September last year. And I know you love events. And especially the director trips. I think they fire you up some of the most. So
they are so much fun.
But you made some decisions around last year around that time, and it worked out well, because now COVID was getting over, so we were able to start to meet in person again.
Yep. It was July of last year that I decided that I was really going to focus on, building again, and focus on, recruiting more partners. And then we went to the event, or the director trip in Portugal, and I had a conversation with Art while I was there, and with Peter Sorensen. And I was kind of like, okay, what do I do now? What I'm kind of like, all these different things that I know I need to do. And, one of the things that was said to me was, focus on one thing, one task. At the end of every 30 days, make sure that there's one new person at the end of the leg that you're building, that long leg that I'm building. Make sure there's one new person. And I said, okay, well, I can do that. I can focus on that one thing. And I think that really made a difference too. So I felt like I wasn't, in 10 different directions. I felt like, okay, I have one task as far as the activity. And that was my task. And I could do that.
And Art is really promoting a lot of tap rooting now. I mean, he's talking about, you've got your, you need to walk on two legs, but finding that strength in, putting a new person on, making sure you have that. And so for those of you who, a lot of people that are building, they have some rock stars and growing, and, have one thing, but you also need to know there's tap roots, and you need to be focusing on getting that strong leg You know, to grow in Zinzino, we need at least two.
Yeah.
So you started focusing on really growing. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's not that you're not working at all in the other leg, but you also focused on building in
Mhm.
in that leg too.
Absolutely.
So your partners that you were coming in are being put there, and it started waking up some of the other partners that were there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. So since July of last year, since July 21st, I've sponsored 13 partners.
Mhm.
And so, it's the constant activity. It's, making sure that, I'm out there being active myself. I think me doing my own meetings, not just focusing on my team, because I think at one point before I was, I had a lot of people in and running, and I'm like, okay, I can go help this person with that meeting and help this one. And oh, I'm going to go over here and help this one this week, so it was a lot more, I think, before of, I was more focused on, trying to help everybody else, and somehow my own activity kind of slipped too. And so
Mhm.
now I'm making sure that I'm, my own activity is first.
And I think that's one of the biggest keys, is because otherwise you become a manager telling other
Right.
people what to do instead of you doing the work
Mhm.
that needs to be done, putting in the customers, putting in the partners. So I think that's, and then your team sees that. So the people that are sponsoring are actually the ones that are going to be growing. And even if you don't see it now, again, you started last year. And at the
Mhm.
beginning, the first months, it wasn't a lot of changes in your business. I mean, if when I posted about Angie's doing this live, I actually posted your T balance number, because you could see it was like, okay,
Yep.
here it is, here it is, here it is. And then through COVID, there goes, little bit, little bit, little bit. But in the last months, now it wasn't in July that the changes happened when you made the decision. It was more like
Right.
November, December, and then the last 6 months here, the growth has been like that, where actually your T balance has over tripled. It's almost
Yeah.
quadrupled since back then, and
Yeah.
that's where we see the growth. So people that are getting started or making that decision like you did, it takes time from when you make a decision. There's some months that are going to go that you might not see it, and I think so many people they give up, they quit.
Mhm.
They're not seeing that growth, or they're saying, okay, I've been doing this for a half a year and I don't see the growth,
Right.
but they need to stick
Well,
with it.
right. And it all starts with the decision to get started, like you said. So it was making the decision, but then it's the dedication. It's sticking with it over that long period of time, because you're not going to see the results in, just a few months. It's going to take some time, before things are starting to take off. And just to say, no matter what, I'm going to keep going, because eventually you're going to hit your goal. Eventually it's going to happen. You're going to hit that breakthrough. Um, so it's just being dedicated to it, being persistent, doing those little slight edge activities every day that are going to get you closer.
So I think too, you're finding more of a balance and the joy in the journey. So now you might not be, you're not working every hour that you can. You're also
Right.
having more time with family. You're having more fun doing things. And when you're not quitting, it's a different journey.
Absolutely. And making sure you're taking time off is really important too. I mean, before I pushed so hard, and then I would be so affected by the things that would happen. But also, my team weren't seeing me have time off, and they didn't want to do that. They wanted to work themselves out of a job, right? They didn't want to add another job, so it's like they needed to know that I could take time off, and they needed to see that too, because that's what we want for everyone. So
One of the things that Art's been teaching us in the last period of time, which I think has been a big help for a lot of people having a lot of the growth, is telling our 30-second stories, sharing those stories, people getting together. You know, it's just following what you do to start growing,
right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the things is staying close to the fire, learning from the others, learning from your upline, being coachable. I think that's one of the biggest things is realizing that you don't know it all. And like I've been in this for how long, and I still feel I got so much to learn. Every time I hear Art speak, I'm like, oh man, I don't know nothing. But it is a process, and it is about being coachable and enjoying the journey along the way so that it is duplicatable. Like I said, everybody can be a leader, but you need to have people following you. And if you don't have that person that has integrity, if you don't have the same kind of drive and that and the joy, who's going to want to be following that unless
Absolutely.
you're enjoying the journey and having fun doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. Enjoying the journey is a big part of it. And, like you said, being coachable, because I have a lot to learn. I mean, when we look at like some of the leaders like Peter Sorensen, that he's been doing the business for a very long time, and I don't know a lot of things. And so, when struggles come along, I'll say, well, who would be the best person to coach with? And I know a lot of times you're suggesting, well, who would be best? And sometimes I need the boldness, the straightforward, the tell it like it is, the kick in the pants. And then we go
Then
to
we
Peter.
use Peter. Your upline strengths, and we know when to use Peter. And other times, we coach with Orion and Hilda. Those are and sometimes Pete, who are our upline that are overseas. But and sometimes when we have specific things, maybe on a director trip, we have been able to coach with others that are in cross lines and get, the golden nuggets that could help us get to the next level from them. But it really is about what is it that we want to learn? What is it to get to that next level? And coaching is an important thing. And people that are really building this business, go through those business overviews every quarter, or when you really need it. If you are struggling with something, what is it that you're going to need to get through this problem? What is the solution, and wherever you're going to get it?
And then implementing those things into your business, implementing the things that you learn, because we can listen, but then we have to be willing to take action on that too.
Mm-hmm. And it is definitely following the system so that it's duplicatable. And a lot of people maybe are thinking they can just figure something out or do it their way, or but if that's why using our Zinzino trainings is very duplicatable. Everyone can find them on the Go Core. Doing the meetings and taking the time to build you with personal development and the action that it takes, and learning along the way. And I think mindset is the biggest, because those who are helping the most people are going to get there. So it's not about you. I think that's one of the things that helps out too, is being able to root on the other people in the team. You having downline that surpasses your T balance and your thing. That is yay,
right?
And to root on everybody else, and crossline, and then just root on yourself.
Absolutely. We're one big team, and we just had an event here in Minnesota, and I think we could all feel that, we're such a strong community here now, and we are one big family, and we're here to support each other and help each other out. And I think more than ever, we're feeling that here in North America, in the US. And I think that's really contributing on to, that we're seeing that growth, and that we're so focused on how can we help other people. That's our focus. It's not so much about, how fast can I, get to the next level. If we're focusing on, how we can help the next person that comes in the team, how we can help them reach their goals of, who is the next person that we know that we need to help get into balance. If that's our mindset, we're going to have different results than focusing on ourselves.
Yeah, because you can't get, you could get to a certain level. You can get to top team on your own.
Right.
you could get to maybe executive on your own, but to get to those diamonds and directors and
Mhm.
crowns and above, you need to be focusing on making your friend, helping your friends, making new friends, and helping your friends.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I think that's the culture, that's the basis of what
Mhm.
we've been doing. And
Mhm.
I think that's why we're having so much. So you went back up to hitting that active director again, and
Mhm.
now with the stability, now with the income that's there, and it's growing, and you have a team of people that are also growing. So uh, let's talk about goals and what you're looking for, what you see with Zinzino in the future.
Mhm. Well, we've recently had a couple of new diamonds in the team this year, which is really exciting.
Mhm.
But my goal for this year was to have 4 new diamonds in the team. We've got 2, so I'm looking for 2 more this year. Um,
Yay!
yeah,
I love
and
that.
then to be helping people qualify for that director trip. Yet we've got a few months yet. There's a lot of people that really want to go, and anybody, even if they're just starting now, we can help them get there. Absolutely. I know it can be done. So helping people get on that trip, because it's a whole different level
Mhm.
um of Zinzino. And so to be getting on those trips, I know the difference that it made for me.
But
So
I love that mentality. I love the mindset of, we're going to help more people hit diamond, because so many people, when they see Zinzino, they want to get to that
yeah.
diamond level. And so many people want to go on the trips and stuff. And the more we're focused on other people, that's how we actually grow our business, to have that true mindset
Mhm.
of, it's not about me. Let's see
Right.
who we can help today.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay, so last questions. What would you say to people who are wanting to either regain their title,
Mhm.
or that really want to get up to diamond director that haven't been there? So people who want to have that kind of growth, what would you
Mhm.
say are the keys?
Your personal development, that is number one. I mean, you have to have your solid core to, be able to build this, to build that belief, to have that sustainability when things get tough, that you're going to persevere through it. You're not going to you're not going to quit like I did every other month. So that's huge. Also, be a product of the product. We've had some amazing new things just come out. I just took my long-term blood sugar test this morning. So when the things come out, make sure that you're the first one that goes out there and takes those tests to get on the products. We need to be able to share that with everybody. Also, the biggest thing is to not give up on yourself for any reason. Don't let anybody else's negativity or anybody else's opinions get in your way. Don't let yourself get in your way of your dreams. And I know that's one of the things that you always said to me, Carla, was, don't let anybody ever stop you. So that's my biggest
Anybody
piece of
steal your
advice.
dream? Nobody should be
Absolutely.
stealing your dream. Grab your dream and don't let it go, because that's what's going to keep you pulling forward. And I think that's really shows in how much you've learned in the last period of time. The last years is now, I think, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear,
Mhm.
and now it's ready for your business to grow. And in a lot of ways, I think that's true for so many of the partners that started in Zinzino years ago. We had a process of things to go through, and now we have bulletproof partners who are hanging on to their goals and dreams. And we're going to see a lot of upcoming titles as a result of all the work that's being put in here the
Mhm.
last year's time. We're going to see a
Absolutely.
lot of things coming. We're going to see a lot more people hitting their goals, and a lot of it here coming up soon, I think, right?
Absolutely. So just, make a plan with your sponsor or your upline and decide, how much time you want to put in. And then just make sure you're having that consistent activity, having your own activity. That is really important too.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ange, for coming on and telling your story. It takes a lot of courage to tell people, I was here, I went here, I'm on my way back up. Because I think it's just, being vulnerable and sharing. People need to hear, had a dream, had the struggle, and the victory. I mean, we've already had a lot of victory, but we're going to be celebrating even more.
It's going to continue. The USA is going places. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So I hope a lot of you that were out there have a lot of hope also in regards to your business and hanging on to your dreams. And so from Angie and I, don't ever let anybody take away your goals or dreams. So I'm going to let everybody unmute here and let everybody be able to say thank you also. So thanks for today. Thank you, Ange, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody.
We love
Have a great
you.
day.